Those memories make him transform into a giant white wolf, ravaging the town. He then goes missing after literally turning Whitaker into a mess. A few weeks later, Hank finds himself aimlessly traveling into the frozen mountains somewhere in Patria. After walking a little bit, Hank gets attacked by another incarnate, a werewolf just like him. The werewolf asks him why he declined Kane's proposal and keeps pressuring him to transform into his real form. However, Hank's too weak to do anything, especially after transforming into a massive train wreck. He tries to flee, but the incarnate can smell him from afar. The werewolf charges at him and attacks the tree he's hiding behind, but Hank dodges the attack and manages to shoot the werewolf, who still resists and charges at him, injuring his left shoulder. After Hank's pathetic display of power, the werewolf tells him he'll make him transform and leaves the scene. That night, the werewolf finds Hank in the same spot again and challenges him, but this time around, Hank transforms into his werewolf form and squares off with the beast. The two monsters fight, and as Hank mindlessly attacks the werewolf, he remembers his transformation as the giant white wolf and reverts back to his human form. The werewolf finds Hank's power play super pathetic and decides to throw him at the nearest cliff. He then keeps on stomping Hank's bulky chest, but the same soldiers from the Whitaker saves Hank. However, Hank falls as the cliff starts to collapse. Hank wakes up on Shaw's lap and she tells him that she went back to her hometown. Shaw tells her that her father, whom Hank previously shot dead, reanimated as a zombified incarnate, so she killed him. After killing her dad, Shaw informs him that somehow she understands why Hank is killing incarnates. Hank talks about his worries and she comforts him. Hank asks Shaw that although they might turn into monsters someday, him included, she shouldn't forget about them. They're still humans and desire to live as one. Hank leaves and sets out to finally kill his friend and comrade, his werewolf in arms. But the wolf's howl pierces Hank's ears, deafening him from his mission. Shaw arrives and shoots the pesky beast, giving Hank the opening he needs to transform back into his werewolf form. The furries fight once again, and with Hank's final blow, another incarnate is laid to rest. A few weeks prior to the final battle, Kane, a couple of remaining incarnates, and their loyalists established the country of New Patria, a separate state where incarnates are pretty much the Olympian gods. With this new threat, the North established a task force to track down Kane and end his madhouse of atrocities. Hank joins this group of soldiers specializing in incarnate extermination. With a little help from Shaw and Lisa, the battalion marches into the fortress and they're immediately greeted with arrows from the centaur incarnate, Miles. Hank transforms into his werewolf form to apprehend Miles, luring him into a trap. But Miles stands up and heals his bullet wounds, quickly fleeing the scene while the soldiers rain bullets on him. The next day, the army readies themselves to start digging trenches. Later, the trench commander signals the attack, and waves upon waves of northern soldiers rush to the fortress to eat iron balls, which is led by Hank. Although the Northmen manage to get to the fortress foot, Miles ambushes them from behind and starts free-firing his arrows, killing the northern soldiers left and right. Miles tries to lure the soldiers away from the main army, but he's heading to a trap. The soldiers trips the centaur and he gets jumped by Hank, who pierces Miles's chest and fires a flare, signaling the commander to bomb his location. Although Miles manages to regrow his limbs, the area suddenly gets covered by pink mist. It was Abai's poison. Hank ends Miles' condition, thus preventing the incarnate from horsing around. But before they can do anything, Kane shows himself and blasts every soldier's heads. Hank senses this and throws his harpoon at Kane, destroying his right arm. He then fires a shot, but Kane turns into mist, only to reappear again. Kane reveals to him that he built a new empire for everyone, for humans and beasts, a utopia where everyone can live in harmony. He tells Hank that humans are deranged creatures and incarnates are born from it. Seeing his friend lost his mind already, Hank transforms into his werewolf form and starts attacking Kane, who has God mode on. Kane creates multiple clones and uses them to attack and wound Hank. The sun shines and Hank turns back into his human form, but Shaw appears and reminds him he's still a human, not a monster, and he still has to fulfill his oath. Seeing Shaw makes Kane memories and rage to kick in, because Elaine loved Hank instead of him. He unleashes his final form and starts going after Shaw, but Hank blocks his attack, megaphones him away, and gives him a nice knuckle sandwich breakfast. After seeing the Irish flag flying over their fortress, Kane flees the scene. With the new threat coming from the west, Hank and Shaw departs on an adventure to find out the magical beasts and kill them before they turn the entire continent into a grand funeral party. Watch this next video. See you on the next one.